Assalamu alaikum, everyone. You're welcome. Thank you for coming, I should say. I'm about to say thank you already, right? But anyway, thank you all for coming to the Money Psychology webinar series. And this series is on credit literacy. So if you know somebody who hasn't paid to jump on, be a friend, tell a friend, send them the link, tell them let's go. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck trying to help them figure out how to get this done. But that's okay, too, because there may just be a few of us that's understanding this, and we're going to lead by example. So we're going to be started in about 3 to 5 minutes, and we'll do a countdown and a few commercials, a beautiful prayer, and then we're going to jump right into it. I see y'all joining in. So grab your coffee, grab your notebooks, and get your questions together, and we'll be right back.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee. And he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee. And I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Peace be unto you. For those of you who don't know what that means, it's just the greatest prayer and the greatest honor that we could bestow upon one another is to wish one another peace. So you hear us as Muslims in the Nation of Islam, and people do it in the church too. They say, peace be unto you. We just say it in Arabic, Assalamu alaikum. So welcome everyone. This is our second week in our money psychology series. And this week we're going to be covering credit. Okay. I have a very special guest that I'm going to be bringing on in just a few short seconds because we're going to get right into it. This brother has so much knowledge, so much wisdom, and is such a wise and spiritual brother. It makes sense that Allah would pair him in this field of credit where there's so much fear and so much unknown and so many shackles that are on us, so that it's so hard for us to figure out. We talked last week in week 1. If you were not here, I'm going to be working on making this. We're going to do this playback pay-per-view, but we really went to work on taking the shackles off of our mind, on reprogramming our epigenetics and decoding the fear that was programmed into us shortly after and during our kidnapping process and our sojourn here into the Americas. Okay. Other people in other parts of the world have different programming, but we know that we specifically have a coding that was designed to make us afraid, to root us in this desire and this illusion of safety, and to create these behaviors that are holding us back. And I want to also always remind us is that we don't worship money. Okay? Money is not our God. So some of you who are spooky out there who are watching this saying, well, they all about money. Listen, money is a liberation tool, and freedom ain't free. And so we got to get our mind together and rework our psychology so that we can begin to think our way up out of this situation that we find ourselves in as a people. We're going to cut down on some of the brainwashing. We're going to come back next week with another special guest. We're talking about financial literacy. And then we're going to round it out that last week with some more mindset conversations. All right. So I'm going to introduce to you a brother who I've known for a very long time. Very spiritual person. He served as a captain and a leader in the Nation of Islam, and still is he's not a captain anymore, but so many, I guess once you're a captain, you're always a captain, right? That's probably true. Captain Emeritus. I think that's what it's supposed to be. But I want to say this because oftentimes in the corporate world that many of us here in the chat, I see you all, I see Sister Aletha here. I know she knows what I'm talking about. Business and spirituality are propagated to Black people as separate endeavors. But if you study any rich people, Brother Bedford wrote a book where he interviewed several millionaires. Dr. Dennis Kimbrough wrote a book where he interviewed several millionaires. You talk to any millionaires and billionaires, they are all highly spiritual people. And they have figured out how to close the gap that is being pried open with fear. And so they are highly spiritual people. It's not separate. But what happens is when we're in these lower levels of the corporate world, what they do is they make us feel as if we have to be very vanilla, very non-spiritual. We can't represent. It's frowned upon a lot of times if you wear your head wrap. So a lot of people drop that. They don't wear their spiritual names in the business world because they feel like they're being discriminated against. But you have to understand the power in properly representing your spirituality in business. And I'm going to say this because there's not one religion that had any success in the world that didn't get there through spirituality. Spirituality and business are married. Islam spread through business. It was during places in Northern Africa, like during Queen Amina's time, where her Islam made it safe for the people to come and trade with her. And then guess what happened? Islam began to spread because people felt safe. They felt comfortable. They felt that they were protected. They felt that they were treated fairly. And so these were principles that were out front, okay, in the spread of Islam and in some aspects, Christianity as well. You got to know your history, okay? All right, so I'm going to bring on my brother. His name is Brother Wali Muhammad. And before I bring him on, let me read to you because I'm going to put the link to his company website here in the chat for those of you all to check out. But let me just read this about page because this is going to set the tone for where I want you all to be. But I really want y'all to buckle your seatbelt. This is what it says on the page. It says, having bad credit is embarrassing. We would all agree, right? And trying to fix it on your own is, well, difficult, right? It's hard to know where to get help because every week somebody is popping up as a credit guru. You see it all the time. This is all you got to do. Let's put these fake trade lines. We're going to deal with all that today. Worse, the big credit repair companies admit their programs take years to maybe get results. So some of you all have paid into some of these kind of programs. You didn't see any kind of results. You can keep Googling dispute letters and messaging Facebook experts, or you can partner with a pioneer in financial services. At True Credit Literacy, we, meaning their company and the people at the company, work with you to restore, listen very carefully, restore, maintain, and build your credit score in less than a year. Using the revolutionary FICO-based technology pioneered by Dr. Michael C. Grayson, you will get real lasting results. We can also save you the stress of losing your home through foreclosure. Okay? It is virtually impossible to lose your home to foreclosure when you know the law, even if you've got court this week. Powerful, right? So whether you're on the brink of losing your home or you finally decided to restore your credit, we can help. Invest in real self-care and get your financial affairs in order. It's time. Okay? We're taught to do for self, right, family? So this is part of doing for self, and I'm going to bring my brother on. Just buckle your seatbelt. That's all I got to tell you. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Wali.
Wa alaikum salam, Sister Sajdah Muhammad.
How are you, sir?
I am doing well, giving praise and thanks to Almighty God, Allah, for every breath that I can take. And I'm so honored to be with you, my esteemed sister, and to perhaps be of some help in your assignment to help us be free of the shackles of ignorance, which is really rooted in fear. We are ignorant because we are afraid. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan called it intellectual cowardice, afraid to go into new areas of knowledge. So I'm very honored to be here with you today and looking forward to aid you in servicing your followers and all those who would pay attention to really that which is life-changing.
You see your sister on here giving you the greetings.
Oh, wow. That's my sister right there. Wa alaikum salam. Oh, that's my sister right there. The dynamic duo for real. Praise Allah.
You know, and I know we didn't talking about this, but you hit me with this right before we went on, and you gave me that powerful quote from the study guides. Can you share that?
That came on the order of Allah. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has said, and I'm with him. He said that this course of learning came on the order of Allah. Now, there's a lot in that. because as students of the teachings and students of history, that course of learning came at the end of 430 years of our history here in America.
Mm-hmm.
And that course of learning actually is to serve as a bridge from the end of this world and its power over us into a brand new day. This brother here will get you safely across on his shoulders to the other side. Well, how he going to do it? It's the body of knowledge that he's given us that will help us get over to the other side if we pay attention. So in that course of learning, he writes these words, and I quote, "When Allah, God Almighty, desires a thing, he, meaning God, arranges angels, forces, resources, and people according to a plan to bring about that which he desires."
Brother Wali, that is so powerful right there. I received that. And I'm going to have you say that again, because I want somebody to type that in the chat, because you got people on here fighting court cases. You got people in here in foreclosure. You got people in here where you got Satan trying to take money from them. You got people on here who've been trying to fix their credit. They feel like they by themselves. They don't have any help. I was just talking to somebody the other day, a very powerful person who said to me, I don't know how we as Black people going to get up out of it. And I quoted that, and I just love the way you say it, and I would like for you to say it again.
Yes, ma'am. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has taught us in his course of learning, which, by the way, is titled Self-Improvement, the basis for community development. You want to know why your community not being developed? Check out your own personal self-improvement, because that's the key. So he writes, he says, when Allah desires a thing. Now we're talking about the Lord of the worlds now. It ain't presto chango and abracadabra. That's something that the enemy of the righteous taught us. When Allah, God, desires a thing, he arranges, look at the order, he arranges angels. Who is that? If there are some inanimate beings, abstract, then what you arranging nothing for? He arranges angels, then forces, then resources, and then people. People's last in that order. I wonder why. Because what you need is not based on nobody. It's based on your relationship with God.
That's part.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has taught us, he said, if you ain't got no money, he said, I will show you how your lack of money is directly relevant to your spiritual advancement and growth. So stop blaming somebody else because you broke. No, look in the mirror.
Yeah.
So he said that Allah arranges angels, forces, resources, and people according to a plan to bring about that which he desires. Now, I know these days, don't think about money. This is absolute insanity, and contrary to the will of God. If you, Lord, are the best planner, then why are you the best? Because you want me to plan. You're the best because there's no one superior to you in planning, but I'm supposed to be like you. You said I'm in your image and after your likeness, then I should be able to plan. I should be able to arrange angels, forces, resources, and people according to what I want, which should be in harmony with what you, Almighty God, wants. So our poverty or impoverished state is really the impoverished state of mind that we have, which is rooted in the bondage that we were placed in. You ain't got to wonder the damage of us as a people. Look at the fear that we possess. We are totally afraid. I don't want nothing new. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said this. He said, the enemy studied us. And
Right.
he looked at us and said that one of our fears is maintenance of the status quo. What does that mean?
Mm.
We desire to keep things as they are.
We're afraid of change.
And then he said, what? If there's not a constant transformation in your life, you are yet dead.
Mm-hmm. You did.
So you doing the same stuff you was doing 10 years ago? Go ahead on and dig up a grave, because that's where you're headed.
Yeah. Yeah. Brother Wali, what is credit? And what is its purpose?
I want to read to you a book that we have, an ebook, and I'll talk about it a little later, how your viewers can get a copy.
Mm-hmm.
But this is an ebook that True Credit Literacy produced. And I just want you and your listeners to just listen to this.
Okay.
Credit is debt. It is an agreement between a lender and a borrower. It is an obligation or liability to pay or render something to someone else. To put it simply, it's a promise to pay for something. Debt is not all bad, but unmanaged debt is oppressive. This is a universally accepted principle. So credit is debt. America was based on, built on, founded on debt.
Right.
Here in the writing, I want to say real quick, if you don't mind.
Sure. Yes, sir.
The founding fathers of America created the country with this understanding. Because of this, not only are bailouts available for corporations, the government offers debt forgiveness for individuals too. America is a capitalist society. Capitalism only works when individuals spend money on major purchases. If you're burdened by debt and are not making major purchases, then the system breaks down.
Right.
In other words, this system is based upon debt. It's based upon your ability to borrow.
They call that capital purchases.
Yes, ma'am. Capital purchases. That's right. That's why they say, well, you don't have any revolving credit. You don't have a mortgage or a car note. That's revolving credit card to a lesser degree. So when the society is due to delinquency and derogatory items on your credit report, when it's X'd out of the ability to access capital, this system begins to slowly grind to a halt.
Right.
And that is what's happening in America. It's been happening with us, but now it's being exacerbated by the economic woes that God himself is behind with this country.
That's very powerful, because I don't know that, I think that we tend to, and oftentimes as Black people, we see things from where we are. And so in looking at ourselves as so small, when we think about credit and debt, you hear us all the time like, well, it don't matter because I can't get a credit card, or it don't matter if I got good credit or bad credit, or we see them printing up money and we think it doesn't matter. What would you say to that, Brother Wali?
Well, you know, as you mentioned earlier, my sister, everything that's happening to us is rooted in prophecy. Pastors, if you really taught the right way, you can free your congregation overnight. The founding fathers, they set up debt forgiveness for the citizens. Number one, they were escaping the tyrannical rulership of people that kept them in debt. That is the basis of the founding of America. They want to get away from that. They say taxation without representation is tyranny. Yeah. But guess what? Because of that experience, they set up laws to help the American people get in and out of debt quickly. Right. And in fact about it, all of that's rooted in the Bible. Check out what Luke 7th chapter, verse 41-42 says. A certain creditor had two debtors. One owed 500 denarii, the other 50. When they couldn't pay, he canceled the debts of both of them. What? Deuteronomy. At the end of every 7 years, you shall grant a remission of debts. This is the manner of remission. Every creditor shall release what he has loaned to his neighbor. He shall not exact it of his neighbor and his brother, because the Lord's remission has been proclaimed. You think that they just decided every 7 years to purge your credit file? No, they didn't just figure that out. That's right in the Bible. These men were heavy Christians. Of course, we know now they were Muslim sons in secret, but they practiced the Bible according to their understanding. So we shouldn't have a debt problem. My brother, Dr. Michael C. Gracie, said, you don't have a debt problem. You have a knowledge problem. The country has over 40 laws that will get you out of debt. You don't need to lie. You don't need to fake out stuff. You don't need to pay these swindlers, Lexington Law and creditrepair.com. These are people who the federal government has sued for billions of dollars. And you pay them. Or you meet a third party and they say, we'll take care of your bills. We'll consolidate everything. Every day I see on social media, somebody crying to I gave them my money and my bill ain't went down. That's because you decided to allow somebody else what you can do for yourself.
You mentioned the pastors at the beginning of your comment. And I heard you say before, or I read it somewhere where you said that a credit ministry is needed in our community. Tell me about that.
A credit ministry is, our people are rooted in God. We're rooted in the Bible, though we don't understand it. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has said to us, and is right there in the Muslim program, we believe in the truth of the Bible. We believe it must be reinterpreted so that mankind will not be snared by the falsehoods that have been added to it. What is written of us? If we are the children of Israel, and even Stevie Wonder can see that, well, what's written of the children of Israel? It's right there on our page on truecreditliteracy.org. Moses instructed the children of Israel to borrow against the wealth of Pharaoh. Right there in the 12th chapter of Exodus, around verse 36 through 38, Moses instructed the children of Israel to borrow from the people of Pharaoh.
Borrow from the people of Pharaoh.
And the Bible says, and the children of Israel saw favor in the sight of the people of Pharaoh. What does that mean? You keep looking back to yesterday. You don't know that there are many highly placed Caucasian people, as my teacher has taught, who are all over this nation. He said, and when they see us carrying into practice the principles of Muhammad, he said they're going to open a door here and a door there. Well, how do you open a door? You help me with credit. Because as a nation, how are we going to buy a ship? How are we going to actually enter international trade and commerce? Our brothers are waking up in Africa. You can see the rise of the brother captain. We're waking up. They are ready to do trade with us, but who you going to go to for a ship?
Right.
You don't even know that a cargo ship today, you can get one for $700K. Fully seaworthy. $700K. We got people all in Central and South America that we grow every day and we throw produce away.
We do.
But they would love to get it. We can trade. We don't have to wait on permission. But we got to start thinking like a nation.
Yeah, man, you took the words out of my mouth. And I was on a panel one time at the Power Networking Conference, and they asked a question about the concept of separation. And I said, well, it depends on, are you nation building or what are you doing? Because this whole concept of separation has been done before. This is not a new concept. There were 1,200 Black settlement towns established by freed Black slaves and some runaways during the Reconstruction era. Our problem, which the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has since taught us, is that we didn't have a military to defend ourselves. But there were 1,200 towns, and they were entering into trade and commerce with themselves, and in some cases with brothers and sisters from the Caribbean and in Africa. So this is not a new concept. I was just with a sister this morning, Sister Aisha El Amin, who mentioned that they just came back from Mississippi with a new Black town that some of the believers in Al-Islam have begun to put together. And they have homes, and they got a school, they have a masjid. So this is not a new concept. We have done this before, where we just decided and say, you know what? We just want our own neighborhood, our own territory. So trading and learning how to set it up differently, and just thinking, okay, they won't let us over there, we're going to make something. But these Chinatowns and stuff like that, we had done that over 1,000 times during Reconstruction.
We were tricked by our leaders who were fashioned by our enemy. Integration. When you mention Chinatown, have you ever seen a Chinese alderman?
I think.
You ain't got one.
No,
you don't have one. You very seldom see a Chinese politician. What they have is the power of their unity, which gives them economic might. They don't need an alderman. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan many years ago went on a tour throughout America called "Politics Without Economics is Symbol Without Substance." I don't give a doggone how many towns you got. If you don't have the power of your economics behind you, going back to credit ministry. See, a credit ministry is when a group of us come together who have worked to get perfect credit. Perfect credit in America is considered 720 with no derogatories on your credit. No late, no collections. Okay, I got perfect credit. America says that I have access to $250,000 in capital. A ministry is when 8 to 10 of us decide, hey, let's access our capital together, put our resources together, and let's buy something. I saw last year in Baltimore, Maryland, I saw a 20-story commercial building, almost brand spanking new, go into default. A building that appraised for $60 million was purchased for a little over $4 million. And what our people don't know is that the equity, unless there's a true economic downturn and a true housing bubble burst, it's very difficult to lose equity in property.
Right.
So you bought a building for $4 million. You put $56 million in your pocket. This is why they're working so hard to take homes away from you illegally via foreclosure. Foreclosure is part of what they're calling the great wealth transfer of America. Foreclosure is one of the tools that they're using. You see our people out there in California, what is it, the Palisades?
The Palisades, yep.
Okay. They've already said that they will never have enough insurance to rebuild.
Right.
We'll give you 80% max, but we ain't going to finance you. You know why? Because the insurance companies, a Federal Reserve spokesman said, are going to leave California in 10 years. In fact, it was Jerome Powell himself said that.
They're already starting. A lot of people I know got letters already where they're saying, if you live in the Palisades in a certain part of Southern California, they're not insuring you.
Which means what? What happened to those communities around there? The equity in your home is diminishing.
Mm-hmm.
And here is a well-kept secret for my brothers and sisters who are watching, who are homeowners. I know you got your chest out. I got $750,000 home. I got $400,000 in equity. You know, our people in that community, those were a lot of seniors. They had a lot of equity too. Where did it go? Up in smoke. With the universally forecast real estate bubble about to take place in 6 months to the next year, your housing value is going to fall off the table. So today you own $750,000 of a home, but in 6 months from now, it may be only $500,000, $400,000 because you didn't want to exercise that equity. Because as my sister been saying, the psychology of finance, you too afraid to get your own money out and go into business for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point of home ownership. It ain't to sit back and pat your chest and your laurels, pat yourself on the back. They said it is the number one resource developer of the American people. It wasn't because they just own the home.
Right.
The access to capital that the home represent, that is what fuel entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why they're working now to reclaim our communities. They call it gentrification. But the properties ain't went down. So why are you moving me out? Because it's got value now. Bronzeville, one of them, right off the lake.
Right.
No value. Let them, let them ninjas stay there. Remember, that was part of Big Mayor Daley's plan. Get them out. He wanted everybody in centralized areas so he could control the voting habits of our people. That's the whole idea behind housing projects.
Right.
He was just stacking you. He wanted the power of your vote in a collective way. That's what you got a project for. So now we need that land back.
They need it back, Brother Wali. And what they're doing in Bronzeville now is all of these new projects that are coming up. They don't want no more affordable housing.
That's over with.
It's over with. They're saying they'll do something what they call I forget it's a terminology, but basically it's for corporate people or blue collar people who work like for CTA or if they're first responders. That's that income level they want. They don't want to do any more for affordable housing. They're not giving away any more of those certificates. So that means that the area is about to flip and flip fast.
So what are we going to do?
Right. Because you know what? When you talked about those values going down, it reminds me of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad saying that America is going to be for sale. So we have to be able to buy these wasted cities. And in a lot of cases, we may need credit in order to do it.
We're going to have it. Well, see, we got our own ecosystem if we just understood. We don't have to go to these shysters, these labor unions. We're supposed to have our own union shops. I know brothers that they have their own union. We're supposed to have our own apprentice training facilities. Our father wanted Muhammad University of Islam right there in Chicago to be an adult education center. The door ain't supposed to close when school is over with. That's when you come in and learn trades. You're supposed to learn HVAC because you say rebuild the wasted cities according to Isaiah. Well, you can't rebuild it if you ain't got no skill.
Right.
See, that presupposes skill, right?
Right.
So Allah, God has already laid a plan out for us from the mouth of his prophets, but we got to stop looking backwards and look at today and see opportunity. I heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say, and I'm going to be quiet. He was riding with his teacher one day, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And his teacher said, brother, pointing to the big skyscrapers, one day we's going to own all of this. And I can see how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
It's for sale. When you see all the banks closing in the downtown area, that means economics is done. When you see a bank branch close, case in point, look at the National Center, the headquarters of the Nation of Islam. The moment the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan declared and purchased that building, they knocked the old Shell gas station down on 73rd and Stony, and what came up in there? A bank. Right? Because when you put a bank in a community, do you know what that is? That's raising the flag. That's a signal to commercial business that it's okay now. You can come on in.
Let's go. Yeah, that's right.
Go. Oh, yeah. We got to understand the language of business. It ain't always this. Business is very symbolic.
Very.
We just got to grow up in maturity now to see the universality of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his minister in the teachings. Business is warfare.
Right.
We talk about those 1,200 cities across America. You didn't have no militia.
No.
You didn't have no army. Our fathers pointed out many. Russell Simmons and all of these giants. They got taken over and consumed because they didn't have no army.
And they ain't got no morals.
None. And we're supposed to be the moral superior to our enemy. So no wonder we're losing.
Yeah, that's don't get me started on that, but their morals was out of whack. Brother Wali, what do we say to Muslims who feel that credit is irrelevant because they don't need it in the hereafter? We talked about that a little bit. And that if debt is slavery and debt hinges upon a credit score, why do I even need credit if I know it's being compared to slavery? Now, and I will preface that by asking you that because I'm always asking people who say that, Christians and Muslims, this is not just religious, but people say that in general. I said, well, where do you think we're going to go? What do you think we're going to be like the Will Smith scorched earth?
We have the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote in his monumental writing, Our Savior Has Arrived, in chapter number 23, called He Makes All Things New. He said the hereafter is a continuation of this life on a higher level. What does that mean? He said in the hereafter, there'll be no such thing as sickness, jail, disease. He even talked about how the lighting, which is hard on us now, there'll be a different kind of lighting, even more softer. He didn't say you won't need no light. Where you think you're going with your hereafter? Hereafter, as he and his minister have taught, is here, right here on this earth, after the power of Satan has been broken. That is what hereafter is. If we all going up in the sky, then why are new cows on the wheel? Why are all kind of vegetation on the wheel? What's it up there for? And what is it that we're learning now from the great brother Will Allen, who we introduced to our nation, about how to rejuvenate the soil from the minerals that are found on the worms? See, soil gets tired. So when you understand that we're going to be living on a higher level, that's not that you got to go somewhere. So what is debt? Savior's Day 2023, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, and I'm going to get very close. He said, how many of you have debt? And almost everybody raised their hand. He said, oh God, I didn't mean for you to raise your hand. He said, but I want to say something. He said, see, when you have debt, debt keeps you in a bad spirit. See, I want to talk to the Nation of Islam for a moment. I'm coming to the mosque. I'm being overpowered by debt and being oppressed by men. Because in your prayer, the conjunction and means that those two things go together. So being overpowered by debt and being oppressed by men go together. So I'm in debt, can't pay my bills, don't want to answer no call, running for my life. What kind of spirit am I going to be in as a believer?
Right.
You said, don't come on here with no negative spirit. Well, I ain't got one. But imagine you in debt and you see no way out of handling it. He said, when debt overpowers you, it keeps you in a bad spirit. He said, but when you can manage debt, it keeps you in a good spirit. All nations have debt. Every nation has debt.
Right.
The question is the debt managing you, or are you managing debt? That's right. The problem. So don't tell me about I live debt free. You ain't taught nobody. I live debt free. Well, how you do it, brother? Blah, 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 blah. Right.
Right.
Stop lying.
Right.
See, if you live debt free, then let's see how you really live it. In the early days, it was nothing to invite a believer to your home. Right. Because you were trying to live according to the law. But today now, you got so much shysterism, so much things going on that's not necessarily good. I don't want nobody to know how I'm living. So I'm being overcome by debt. And one of the reasons why is because you think you're supposed to pay all the debt you got. Later on, my sister, I want to talk briefly about good debt and bad debt.
I was actually going to say, because I know people are listening, and what we want to do is prepare individuals so that some of these things we're talking about, that we can be tapped and used to help with the liberation process. So let's talk about the difference between good debt and bad debt. We can go right into it.
All right, very good. I want to read another excerpt of our book. Yes. And again, toward the end of the show, I like to say how people can get it. Now, I'm going to give it to you. I'm not a DMX. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you the book. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote these very wise words on the inside paper-bound cover of his hard-bound books when he was among us. He said, as truth cannot be purchased, this book is a gift in exchange for your donation. See, even with the FOI, who go out in the name of selling the final call, in my humble view, that's the wrong language to use. I want to give you the final call. It is the truth. It is a book of truth. However, I ask for a donation, a minimum of $2. And then you will find people will always give you more than $2 because you're actually subtly raising the value of the final call. So language is everything. So here, good debt versus bad debt. There are two types of debt, good debt and bad debt. Well, how do you determine if a debt is good or bad? I want you to listen. Good debt is good if it falls into one of three categories. The debt is less than 90 days past due. The debt is government-based, IRS, student loan, etc. Or the debt is secured, mortgage, auto loan, etc. That's good debt. Now juxtapose that, check it out. Bad debt is debt that is more than 120 days past due, or debt that is deemed uncollectible.
Right.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
In fact, when you see that you owe more than 4 days of notes, we advise to stop paying it. Why? Because it's already been charged off. And what we don't know as a people is that when the creditor charges off your bad debt, the government of America pays them that money. And how do you know they pay it? Because your creditor is supposed to issue you a 1099 form C.
And sometimes you can get that. I've seen clients say, all of a sudden, I got this 1099. And I said, did you have a debt that was charged off? And they said, oh, yeah.
Because the government paid off the debt to the creditor. But most creditors are slimy. They're not going to tell you. And even if you ask them for the 1099, they will fight you like heck to keep from giving it to you. You know why? Because their cousin has a collection agency. So you read a collection agency letter that says your account happened to appear in our office. They're lying.
Right.
They're lying. Their buddy gave them your bad debt. Hey, look, Tommy, we got paid already. You want to see if you can get something off this shyster here? And then they squeeze you to make a deal, and you think it's a deal, but that deal that you pay actually does not remove that derogatory item from your credit file. And you want to, well, I paid it off. You paid off a debt that we call bad debt.
Right.
It will not affect your credit file at all. Stop paying it.
You know, that's interesting that you talk about that, because you get all these people out here who say, well, I can help you clean up your credit. And if you pay off this and you pay off that, we're going to take this off of your credit report and all of this stuff. And now they got this new thing. I'll jump to that, where people are saying, well, you can add trade lines. And so a lot of people getting scammed because they buy in trade lines. Is that even legal, Brother Wali?
Well, it's not. It's very difficult to enforce. But as righteous people, as believers in God, why would we misrepresent the truth of ourselves? Why should I allow you to put a trade line on that I know I do not have? Now, an authorized user and a trade line is not the same thing.
Right.
If you're blessed and you have a friend or a family member that's got $100,000 credit card, but your credit is good, you at 720, but you don't have any trade lines, you can have that person add you as an authorized user. You don't need the card, you don't need the account, you don't need access to it, but it reports as though it's yours.
Right.
And then what the banks will do via the charge cards or credit card, they say, oh, he's got $100,000 credit card. They'll send you a credit card for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. But here's something I want to put to your audience. I know many of you think you got good credit. I scored 770 across the board. Okay. When you get a credit card, what's your interest rate on it? If the interest rate is anything other than zero, which is prime, then you don't have good credit.
And so how do they determine if they're in the high sevens? How do they say, well, wait a minute, why y'all sending me this credit card with 19% interest?
Because you don't understand how to monetize and weaponize your good credit. They're not going to never tell you anything. Do you think that you're going to get an email? Sister Sajdah, we were perusing your credit score. And you know what, honey? We see that you got 800 across the board, no derogatories, and you got all kind of stuff. Take this interest-free credit card for $500,000. They're not going to do that. However, when you get a credit card offer and they say pre-approved, read the fine print very carefully.
Right.
If it does not say prime, which is zero in America, you call them and said, you know, I'm so glad that you studied my credit report, and I'm very happy that you offered me this credit, but I'm at 780 across the board. And if I can't get 0% interest rate, I'm not interested in your product. Well, how about we give it at 2%? No, I want 0. And if you just be firm and trust in the Lord for real, they'll come around.
Right.
They'll
because
come around.
Brother Wali, they be giving people the same, especially Black people. They give us the same credit card that they would give somebody with a lower credit score.
We found out through my brother, Dr. Michael C. Grayson, that Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion habitually rob Black and poor people of upwards to 100 points per credit file.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you say, well, I don't need it. I'm going to the hereafter. Let me tell you about your hereafter self. You don't even know what that bad credit means in your daily life.
Mm-hmm.
FICO, Fair Isaacs Corporation, wrote when they transferred to FICO-based scoring system around 2000 that 80% of every decision in your life will center around your credit score.
Mm-hmm.
That's 4 out of 5 decisions about you.
Mm-hmm.
Your credit will determine how much your insurance is.
Mm-hmm.
It will determine what kind of real medical insurance you can get. It will determine the interest rate on your car, on your home. You're not going to get away.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about, I don't need credit.
Mm-hmm.
Credit is not to buy things. Credit is to fuel your entrepreneur ideas.
Mm-hmm.
See, you get into problem because we're consumers. We don't produce anything.
Right. Right.
A great friend of mine years ago taught me this. He said, but Wali, when you look at a check, he said there are 2 signatures on a check. One on the front, one on the back.
Mm-hmm.
He said, our people always say, man, I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid. And they happy to sign the back of the check. That back of the check actually represents the consumer.
Right.
The producer, the one responsible for the revenue that the check represents, he signs the front.
Right.
We have been consumers and have never become producers.
Mm-hmm.
So just being so happy with signing the back, let's get into the habit of signing the front of the check.
Mm-hmm.
Let's become great entrepreneurs and business people. And let's take pride in signing the front. I'm paying so-and-so. You look at these ball players and how much they make. You never think about how much the owner's making to pay them.
Right. People forget about that. Because if somebody paying you $60 million, how much they making?
Way more than 60 million.
So, Brother Wali, to the people out here watching, like saying, well, with all this discrimination and all this stuff going on, and I know people who've been trying to get their credit score up for years, what hope do they have? What do they do? It seems like the odds are stacked against them.
Well, I would say to know that we are the people of God first and foremost. And he promises us, if you follow in Jesus, Jesus promised you what? Life, and life more what? Abundantly. So where's your life more abundantly at? You following Jesus, right? Maybe we need to look and see who we're really following. We could be following Satan in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
So what about this credit? How do I fix it? Number 1, don't go to Lexington Law. Don't go to creditrepair.com. Mm-hmm. Don't call Junebug. For God's sake, don't go to the bus stop and pull a number off a telephone pole. Come on, call me. I'm going to give you the hookup.
Mm-hmm.
And as righteous people, don't let people lie in your name.
Right.
If your credit report says you owe this person this much money, own up to it.
Mm-hmm.
America has over 40 debt filtration systems in place that can alleviate your bad credit. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as credit repair. That's an obsolete term. It's credit restoration. That's what we say.
Right.
So you're going to have a professional.
Mm-hmm.
And we're partnered and great friends with and brothers of probably the greatest credit and debt manager that we know, a brother by the name of Dr. Michael C. Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
Your credit score
Uh-oh. I think Brother Wali froze on us for a second there. Give me a thumbs up if you can still hear me, or are we frozen altogether? Let me know if we are frozen altogether or if it's just me. Alita said, yes, you can hear me, but you can't hear Brother Wali. Okay. Okay. I'm clear. Okay, y'all. So while we're waiting on Brother Wali to come back, what I'm going to do is take a break. Sister Tania, we're going to come back to your question. I do like your question. How does your credit score impact your health insurance? We're going to go to a quick commercial and we'll be right back. They may give him time to get back with us. And please continue to put your questions in the chart. Okay? Don't go anywhere in the questions in the chart. Questions in the chat. Okay. The Elijah Muhammad House presents Black Waltz in White, an electrifying and elegant movement introduced to the Nation of Islam in the 1930s by Master W. Fard Muhammad. Join us for the second event in our Arts, Culture, and Civilization series. Learn more about the level of culture and refinement taught and demonstrated by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We'll be there Thursday, June 26th at 6 p.m. in Elijah's Garden of Peace at 4847 South Woodlawn Avenue. All ages are welcome to attend this special event of dance, education, in our sacred space. Visit ElijahMuhammadHouse.com to secure your seats.
I have told you the first part of my life, I was a farmer in Georgia.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Nobody there was looking at me flying and you thought that I would ever be a scientist teaching the world.
Yes, sir.
See, it is time that brings all that.
All right, we're back and you're tuned into the Money Psychology webinar. I see you guys in the chat. Thank you for your response. You know, okay, so Brother Wali was the only one frozen. So he'll be back shortly. But, you know, I wanted to mention to us why these types of conversations are so important. Because I personally believe, and this is where I got to go metaphysical on us, you know, you got the mind, which is where the data is, which is the masculine. And then you have the heart, that is the receiver. And so oftentimes in our heart, we feel like we want to do something. In our heart, we know that we can make a difference. But somehow in our mind, okay, looks like our brother's coming back. Somehow in our mind, we don't have enough data to help us reconcile our heart and our mind. So the desire is there and we want it really badly, but we don't have enough data. And so participating in programs like this helps you to get just these little nuggets of data that are going to help you reconcile that heart-mind thing. And when we start talking about, you know, things like going to the hereafter and living in a world where things are different and stuff like that, a lot of that is going to also be based on our level of self-improvement. But that level of self-improvement requires us to reconcile our mind and our heart. So the data, which is what we have access to, and then our heart, which is our desire. Okay. So a lot of times when I'm trying to figure out something, I'll ask Allah, give me the data that I need in order to reconcile my heart and my mind. I'm going to bring our brother back here. And we got a question, Brother Wali. Welcome back. If you needed a break, you could have just told us.
Sister, you know what? We really don't have any idea. The Honorable Minister Lewis, he said, to know about a man, don't look at his friends. Look at his enemies.
Mm-hmm.
We have real enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're talking about today is so earth shattering and
Mm-hmm.
it's causing the enemy to tremble so much
Mm-hmm.
because he commercializes our ignorance.
Right.
That's what he does. He makes money of us not knowing. You think he wants you to know about credit? Tell me, where school are you going to that's teaching you credit? What university?
None.
What college? What prep school? Where is credit being taught at? But yet all of us are affected by it. Why is it not taught?
Right. Right. Sister asked a question, Brother Wali. She said, how does your credit score impact your health insurance?
We met a couple of years ago. The sister was diagnosed with terminal cancer.
Mm.
And she came, her insurance would not allow her to try this groundbreaking medical way to solve her cancer.
Mm-hmm.
It has something to do with stem cell research.
Correct. They're not paying for stem cells right now.
Okay, so thank you for validating what I'm saying.
That's correct.
So she came to us and her husband signed her up, and it was about 4 months. And they came back to the office and she was so distraught. She said, "This is not working. Let's just go." She had resigned to the idea of transitioning from this life.
Mm-hmm.
And so my brother told her, he said, "No, hold on. The program works." 2 months later, her scores went up well into the 700s. That allowed her to get a more premium tier of health insurance, which you are very familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
They give you Blue Cross and Blue Shield, but there are different tiers to that coverage.
Mm-hmm.
So that tier of insurance allowed her to go into this exploratory type of procedure, and they came in a little bit while later with all kind of pizza and cookies and flowers and whatnot. She was so happy because the hope that she had been rewarded. This is the value of good credit. Good credit, or the lack thereof, cause us Americans, Black people in particularly, $2,000 to $3,000 every month. So says the Pew Institute. There's an actual study where they said your bad credit is costing you money. Imagine you losing $2,000 every month. I ain't got $2,000. Yeah, that's why. So the people who you have it in your supreme wisdom, why does the devil keep our people illiterate? That's two different people. To use them as a tool and also a slave. He keeps them blind to themselves so he can master them. And illiterate means ignorant. Not knowing is actual illiteracy.
You know, it's interesting because couple things in being in healthcare, and I did not realize that credit and income status impacted health. I thought that if you went to the doctor, that it didn't really matter if you was Black or white or wealthy or not, that you got the same level of service. I didn't realize that until I was actually in healthcare, and I started to realize that, you know, it gives you access to different choices of treatments. And I should correct myself. They're not paying for stem cell for certain things. Most things, if you have something like cancer, but you know, you can use stem cells for very simple things, like in China, to prevent amputations. They use it for diabetes. They use it for autoimmune situations. But our insurance over here isn't paying for it and likely will never catch up. This is another reason why you need good credit and be able to access cash, because if you ever get sick with something, you don't want to be restricted to what your insurance company will pay for, because they may say to you, we don't pay for human growth hormone injections or stem cell injections for diabetes. It used to be back in the day. Now the GLP-1, they're opening it up to the public, but they got trade names like Wegovy, Ozempic, and all that, Zepbound. But back in the day, probably about 15 years ago, you had to be in a certain circle to get access to that. And I remember saying, and this is when I started looking at the concept and becoming very clear of how money gives you options, and we have to stop demonizing it, because these people would come in, and I would see somebody white that was wealthy who would come in, and I remember asking my business partner, I said, well, how come they're not dying from diabetes? But you got poor people, white and black, who they come in and they amputate one toe, two toe, transmetatarsal, ankle, knee, and this is how they making money, just going right up the leg. And I said, well, and then he said, well, because they offer them other treatments. And so they would come in, they'd be slimmer. And he would say, well, they taking the GLP-1, which now has a trade name. I said, well, how come the GLP-1 ain't for everybody? And it just wasn't. But that stuff has been out for years. They've been testing that on people, and people in the upper levels. So that's why you see these billionaires on TV like, oh yeah, I've been diabetic since 1970 something, but they don't look like it. They in shape, they slimmer. But this stuff, these medicines have been out. Things like stem cells, getting access to it, they growing limbs back in China with stem cells. Well, you know what? If you get sick and you got money, or your mother, father, auntie, your child gets sick, you want to be able to say, you know what, let me pull down on my line of credit and we're going to Thailand for a month. And we're going to get some of this treatment over there for a month, and then we'll be back. But if you don't have no money and you're on Medicare and Medicaid, and I'm not hating on those, but you're going to be restricted with the type of services. Same thing with education. If you got a child in school, if you got money, you can send them to a special school. We got a lot of special needs children out here nowadays that need specialized education. If you ain't got no money, they going right to the public school system, and that's the pipeline to prison. But if you got money, maybe you can borrow some money, you can access credit, then you can say what? I'm going to send them to this private school. I'm going to send them somewhere where they got customized learning. You got a lot of adults. I've gone to school with a lot of people who don't look like us, Brother Wali, and you can tell they special needs. But in our community, if they special needs, they be on the short bus in that little special classroom. But somebody helped them to learn, taught them the skill, brought them along. These are things that it takes money to do. And credit, for anybody who's questioning why we're talking about this, credit can help to open up the options, even in your food budget. I say this all the time. It's much cheaper to run through the drive-through and get a dollar menu item than it is to eat halal and kosher and grow your own stuff. So Satan has put a price on liberation. Liberation is choices. And so we have to understand that freedom ain't free.
Yes, ma'am.
It ain't free. I got another question for you. Yes, when we start talking about creating our own settlements and our own towns and our separate territories, I've been talking a lot about new business models and not bringing old business models into the new territory. And I got a good glimpse of this, Brother Wali, when I was in Liberia. And I'm NTR on not Liberia. They call it never to return. NTR completely because, and I love Africa, but I'm good on Liberia because what I saw was the freed Black people, which is what Liberia was set up for, who went over there were not taught any other way to be. So they took Jim Crow, they took the racism, they took the Willie Lynch and all of that. And that's what's going down over there in steroids. So you got the light-skinned Americo Liberians versus the native Liberians. And I said, you know what? I want to be a part of helping us to figure out new business models and learning another way to do things. So in Islam, which strictly forbids charging interest on loans, as I said, in preparation for the new business models that we will establish as we begin to do more business with one another, how would you advise that all parties involved share the risk, since interest is generally based on the risk factor of the client or the nature of the transaction?
That's a very interesting question. You have some financial institutions in the East that prohibit usury.
Yes.
See, our problem, in my view, is we don't see one another living up to the law. And therefore, we don't have the trust in one another that we should innately have with one another.
Okay.
See, credit is about trust.
Okay.
I lend you because I believe you're going to pay me back.
Yes.
See, and if we learn, here's an example. Many people think that the FDIC insures your money. Insured up to $250,000 per account, right?
They don't?
The FDIC don't have enough to cover Naperville's banks,
Right.
let alone America's banks.
Right.
That is a lie.
Right.
In fact, one of the laws that was passed during Dodd-Frank, I think 2010, that changed the banking system forever in the name of the bailouts. They allow a bank to lend money even when they don't have the money in their possession.
Right. Right.
See? So this whole thing is based on a lie.
It's all an illusion based on credit.
That's why the number one thing that the banks are terrified of is what they call a bank run. Meaning that
about a bank run.
The people suspect that the economy is about to crash. So everybody get the bright idea at the same time. I'm going to get my money out. I'm going to get my money out.
You know, that happened in Nigeria.
Well, it just happened in December and in January.
Yep.
Nigeria, what? Nigeria, California? What? Liberia?
Lagos, Nigeria is what I was referring to. Yeah.
I know. But I'm saying they're already prepping you for when you can go to the bank and you can't get your money out. Remember, BOA had happened at the beginning of the year. Wells Fargo. It's happening now. So the whole idea of what they call a con game. See, as Black people, we denote con with convict. That's not what it means. When you hear financial people saying that, they're not talking about convicts. They're talking about a confidence game. We need you to believe that this is going to work. Because the minute you start believing it, it's over with.
Right.
But speaking of credit real quick, you know, with a credit card, you can go to Walmart, Costco's, Sam's, and buy gold. Now, I know you Muslims and righteous people, you want to buy gold. I'm buying gold. Let me tell you something. I know we're not good students of history, but during the Depression, Franklin Delano Roosevelt ordered the confiscation of all gold and silver.
He did.
Okay? Don't think that because you got a gold bar or gold this in the house, they won't come and get it. Why you think they make you fill out them papers? What they will not take from you, according to real financial analysts, are pre-1933 gold coins. That they will not confiscate.
And why is that?
That's because they're really ceremonial type, historical type. And don't go on the internet buying gold because it's encased in some plastic. You are going to get less for that gold if you need to sell it than what you pay for it. Okay. These are things that we need to know. True financial literacy. Now, back to this idea of a new way of doing business. Stop looking to provide a service and manufacture. Stop being a service-oriented person. Okay? The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has said to us that in a few days, the farmers will be driving the Maybachs and the Wall Street bankers will be in Volkswagens. The farmer is responsible for every life in his community. He feeds you. And when we learn agribusiness and the real science of farming, there was a big egg shortage at the beginning of the year. Why couldn't we call some black farmers and say, hey, I need 30,000 cases of eggs. I can sell them for $10 a case. Why didn't we think like that? I looked for some farmers, had money ready, couldn't find a farmer that could produce what we needed.
You didn't call the Amish people?
I tried to call people that look like us.
Right. I'm just messing with you.
I mean, hey, look, I drink the Amish milk. Listen, they practicing righteousness as well. They understand it. I ain't got righteousness is not exclusive to black people. But lack of productivity seems to be exclusive to us. We are so afraid to be successful because the very people who benefit off your ignorance will never inspire you to be successful. So right now, even in this conversation, we got all kind of questions. And where are those questions coming from? The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan taught us about these different forces that are within our being. Some of them are contrary. He said, in order to make progress, all of the forces or all of the ideas that you have must be aligned behind one single principle.
Right.
He said, doubt has a chilling effect on movement. Chilling means a slow freeze. So you that carry doubt, not only is it the mother of hypocrisy, it's the reason why you're not making progress. And the number one doubt that we got is doubt in somebody that looks like me. I can't trust you.
You know, speaking, Brother Wali, of agriculture, you know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, and I did a series on the accomplishments of the Muslims to focus on the needs of the people, right? So sometimes we wonder, like, what should I do? And the needs of the people have grown because now we have data processing needs that I would also put in as almost as equally as food, clothing, and shelter, because now we've moved to this digital data-driven world. But something that's interesting, my undergraduate degree is from Iowa State University. Now they call it Iowa State University, but the real name of the school is Iowa State School of Science and Agriculture. So if you get, say, a business degree from Iowa State University, it's going to be a little more technical and based in science and agriculture than, say, a business degree from another university that might be more marketing driven. And so we spent a lot of time. That's where George Washington Carver did all the peanut processing, was at Iowa State University. And so we spent a lot of time having to understand farming. So when we took accounting, there's farming accounting, which is different from regular accounting. And I just remember the number of international students that were in the science and agricultural business program that I graduated from. And I will say this to you, Brother Wali, that I didn't even know how blessed I was. Because I just thought, this is just what I got to do to graduate. But then later, after coming into the nation, and I said, wait a minute, that was the science and agriculture. And I remember going out and learning how to do agricultural accounting and studying it from that way, and watching how the people came from all around the world to learn this system of agriculture and agricultural administration. And I'm saying that to say that that is a study. It's a discipline in school, in business. So if you can find a business school, Iowa State has one, agricultural administration, agricultural accounting, agricultural processing, project management. They have all these programs around agriculture right there in the middle of Iowa, and you would not even know it here in America. Now, when you get a basic business degree, there are some of those classes that you have to take, and then the rest of them are elective. But they actually offer, I don't know if they offer a degree in that, but they have a whole slew of studies around agricultural business. That's a sweet major for anybody on here with children. Have them major in agricultural business.
We have to think independently.
Mm-hmm.
Not only to learn agribusiness, but I'm just telling you, I'm not trying to add no cubits to my hat. Allah knows enough of what I'm saying that is true. I was approached by some Chinese,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted to buy soybeans.
Mm-hmm.
They said, hey, Muhammad, we want to buy soybeans. Help us. So I started calling soybean producers, which is right there, ISU. That's one of the epicenters of the soybean industry.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I learned that it wasn't just finding a farmer, because the farmers were selling their crop 2 to 3 years down the road.
Yes.
I said, oh, wow, I'm late. But as I began to talk to them, I understood that it's not just finding the farmer. I had to find a way to transport the soybeans that the Chinese could pick them up.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a railroad that runs right and dead ends right in the town I grew up in, Harvey, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
The Canadian National Railroad dead ends in Harvey, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
But that railroad services the soybean epicenter of America.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do, they load those beans up and they take them. The Canadian National Railroad ends in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Chinese said, if you can get it here, we can get it from Vancouver. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I say, but I can't, we're going to have to sign contracts for 2 to 3 years down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we can't do that. And now here comes DJT. So that is not necessarily present anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned, I said, wow, this is not just about finding farmers and their crop.
Right.
This is a whole ecosystem.
Yes.
That we have to develop. So when you talk about building a black town, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
What you going to have a cleaners and a bakery? What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have those engines. Our father said that farming is the engine of the nation.
You have to have distribution, processing. You got to have some type of refrigeration or protection, or your crops will go bad. You don't want to do like they do in some places in California, where you may buy organic in the store, but they done sprayed them on the way here.
They're dead on arrival.
Mm-hmm.
They're dead on arrival. And one thing I learned, because I know the head of the black farmers, Brother John, and I also know the head of the National Association of Black Growers.
Mm-hmm.
That's two different organizations.
Mm-hmm.
Farmers imply pigs and cattle also, but the growers, they grow fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
And how they get ripped off is we don't own our own processing facilities.
That's right.
And that's where the markup takes place.
That's right.
So again, when we talking about do for self, that's a whole infrastructure that needs to be developed. There's plenty of room to learn. Stop thinking that there's nothing to do, but you're not going to buy a processing plant with your little pennies that you're going to raise.
No, there's transportation and logistics. It's not just trucking, but you need access to a port. Remember, the minister told us take Alabama if we had to get a state.
Yeah,
why?
because
it has a port.
there.
That's
yes,
right.
It does.
Yeah.
So we just gonna have to. I gotta say this: the 9 ministries that Allah gave the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that he revealed to the world in 2005 will absolutely help us to organize into the different endeavors and disciplines necessary for true nation building. Going to a building has become obsolete. Well, that's cruel. Well, tell me, how did 1,800,000, 1.6, 1.3, 1.3, how did they all end up on the mall in Washington, D.C. at the call of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? They never came to a building. The last tour, just as else, he only toured 23 cities. Where did 1.3 million people come from?
Right.
See, you want to look at what we have to assess our understanding. And you and I have talked in the privy where the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said we must now and here do a painful or an agonizing reappraisal of our way of life. If we care anything for our properties, our wives, and our children.
Right.
Painful means we got to stop deluding ourselves. Nation building is not coming to a building Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday night, Saturday. Stop it.
That's the training ground. Then you move out from there.
Our people would benefit from the 9 ministries. We got a ministry of agriculture. How are we going to enter into international trade and commerce?
Right.
As long as you're looking at your pocket and think you got enough, then you may not be fit for God's use.
That's rugged individualism. Brother Wali, Sister Sandra D said, what's the best age to start building credit for young people?
Now.
Now.
What you gonna wait till they go to college and the enemy send them a credit card and they're gonna burn it up and talk about, I didn't know I had to pay this back? What you talking about? And stop using your baby's credit file for yourself. You burning their life up. I'm gonna use my son's social. He don't need it now. I mean, we got all kind of cockamamie schemes to get ahead, but it never works. The Bible says, ye are they who earn wages and put the wages in a bag with a hole in it. Ye are they who drink, but you're always thirsty. Ye are they who eat, but are never full. And God said, why? Because the house of the Lord is in disrepair.
Right.
The house of the Lord is the people of God. But you can't repair a people when you refuse the process of reparation for yourself. Reparation don't mean somebody give you something. God has come. We don't need him to give us nothing. He ain't gonna never give you nothing. So what? Reparations over with? Repair yourself. God is present. There are no more excuses for us to be on the road of self-improvement anymore.
It's so exciting to me. I'm on 10 because I'm honestly so anxious and so excited to be living and born in this day and time that I get an opportunity to make a difference. Sister Tania brought up something that I've been saying for a while, and she said there are plenty of ghost towns that could serve as locations for processing plants. And throughout, I was just watching something, actually it was on TikTok, where there was a man that was going throughout the state of Illinois and visiting these ghost towns that are existing in Illinois. And he was like, well, what to do? He was a white man. He's like, well, what do we do with these? What to do with it? Because what they're not telling us is that the white population is dying off and they're not reproducing. And many of us are in the inner cities or around the epicenters. We might be in the suburbs, but around the epicenters. But you got so many of these rural towns, like she talked about Pickensville, Alabama, and places like that, where there's literally almost nobody there.
Well, you better check out what is the water supply there, because the enemy very smart. He ain't just up and going. Something happened that he's trying to keep on the low. I see a lot of Muslims. They talking about come down here. We got free land, but they won't reveal that the land is toxic because there might have been a factory down the river, downstream, and now the pollutants from that factory in the water is now in the soil. Going back to diabetes real quick, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has taught us that depleted uranium placed in the soil of many farms is the root cause of the diabetes epidemic among us. And he cited a study in Palestine where they were analyzing the effect of the uranium-tipped bombs that the Israelis were using. And wherever they dropped those bombs that were tipped at the end with uranium, the diabetes count exploded. See, it exploded. Diabetes, we always ate candy and drink pop. Stop it. It's not that. These are misconceptions, again, rooted in our ignorance and our unjustified belief in our open enemy.
Brother Wali, what happened to, I know for me, when I first came in the nation, there used to be these stores around. They were like health food stores / bookstores. And there was always some brother or sister in there that could give you some herbs and give you a book. And remember, we was all taking ginseng and all these other things that we were doing. I know there's a few around, but what happened to those places? Because those places are so valuable in terms of helping to turn our health around. Now, when you go in our community, all you see is the corner store with all the snacks with the red dye number, whatever it is in it.
Well, the enemy is very smart. And once he felt that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was no longer among us, he developed a trend that he called discovery. Well, you don't know it as discovery. He called it disco. See, disco is short for discovery, where he promoted the intermingling of the races through music and dance. See, he's a scientist. So he promoted intermingling of the races through his music. All of a sudden, you dancing to
that's why that disco music be jamming like that.
Oh, listen, the Gibb Brothers. Who the hell is them? Some whack Australians. All of a sudden, now you got on bell-bottom pants. You John Travolta, Saturday Night Fever, and he made an instrument called a synthesizer that imitated the rhythmical beat of the original people.
Right.
We trapped you with the music.
Right.
He called it disco. So as disco came inter-race mixing came,
Mm-hmm.
our sovereignty in our communities and our pride in our own stores began to dissipate.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, now here comes who? CVS. Walgreens is headquartered in Chicago, up there in Deerfield.
Yes, they
But
are.
Walgreens wasn't as prevalent as it is today. So systematically, he gave us discovery of one another. Then he began to really poison us through the food and the drink. And then the pharmaceutical industry really took off.
Mm-hmm.
The pharmaceutical industry was really founded by John D. Rockefeller, who was looking for ways to use every bit of the byproduct from his oil industry.
Right.
That's the root of the pharmaceutical industry.
Right.
So they give you bad food, and then our fathers say, then they maintain your poor condition through the pharmaceutical industry.
Mm-hmm.
So CVS and Walgreens, Rexall, they were smaller, but then they just mushroom. And then what came with that? The dialysis center.
Mm-hmm.
That's a $1 billion industry.
Mostly black men you're going to see up in there.
Why? Because the toxin and the poison that they give you through the pharmaceuticals, the kidneys cannot bear, the liver cannot bear.
Mm-hmm.
So now I don't trust mom and pa no more. I remember growing up, it was always the corner candy store. Miss Kate's. Go in there and give me 3 nut chews. You had 5 pennies. Give me 3 nut chews. Give me a now and later.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't no diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
Diabetes didn't come until we began to eat more from the grocery stores.
Processed foods.
Processed food.
Processed
Here's something
foods.
for your
Use
listeners to check
that
out.
same. Let me just say this part. You talked about John D. Rockefeller and the byproducts of his oil. Those were some of the plastics and the chemicals that they put in the dyes that still exist in the food today, which is what we're ingesting.
Here's an exercise for your viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Go in any major grocery store. I don't care what part of the country. Just check it out. When you go into that store, whether you go left or right, the perimeter of that store will always have the fresh food, your dairy products, your veggies, your fruits. But the interior aisles will absolutely be processed food.
You got to stay out the middle aisles. I remember learning that when I first came in the nation. You shop around the perimeters. And I'm always having anxiety if I got to go down the middle and find something, because I'm like, whatever I'm looking for down here, I probably ain't supposed to be getting. That's the truth.
We're the victims of a well-designed genocide.
Mm-hmm.
This is why our father told us to get the book We Charge Genocide, written in the 60s by our brothers and sisters. I think the 50s, actually. We charge genocide. So genocide is what? It's not just physical. The children of Israel were in bondage to the people of Pharaoh. That's up here. That's financial. That's your bondage. They determine our direction. So he never wants you to know about credit. That's why you can't go nowhere and learn it.
Right. That's terrible. Brother Wali, I'm so grateful to have this discussion. I pray to Allah. I pray before we started, and I pray now that we spark some thoughts in people and start waking some folks up. But if people want to reach out to you individually and maybe have you work with them, look at their credit, see what you can do to help them, how do they reach you? I got the website up here. Is that the best way to do it?
Just go to the bottom of the landing page there. Fill out the brief form, the contact form. It'll come right to my email, and I will call you. Just leave a number, leave your name. I give out my number. You can always call, especially the believer. You can call me. But listen, we can't have a true conversation about your credit situation. We recommend a company called Identity IQ. When you call me or you email me, I will send you a link to this particular company. Now, I know you can go to annualcreditreport.com and get it for free now every week. That's $9, but the score is not going to be on there. When your employer, another reason for good credit, if you're an entrepreneur and you think there's an opportunity to do business with any municipality, any state, any federal government agency, did you know that one of the last criteria that they use is your credit? I know people personally who pass every stage of the application process for the Small Business Administration. And right at the end, they pulled that credit and they said, sorry, Charlie, we can't help you. Another reason why you need to up your credit game. So call me. The number's right on the website, area code 630-755-0893. If your brother don't answer, just leave a message. Just leave it. Be patient. Allah says, seek assistance through patience and prayer. Seek means to be actively engaged in the hunt, the pursuit of. See, I'm hunting for what? The help of God. How am I get it? Through patience and prayer. Patience, the root pati, to suffer long, to endure. You didn't get in that situation in a day, and you ain't gonna get out of it in a day. But if you attack it with the right spirit and the right mind, cast down your buckets where your feet are. All that you're looking for is right where you at. Your brother is here, anxious to serve you, because this nation has to come up, and we got to get rid of this spooky.
Brother Wali, you went on mute all of a sudden. Satan muted you. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, I didn't hear. I was moving. I didn't hear the button.
It was like this.
Don't shoot, right? He just angry. Now, y'all can think that's spooky if you want to. But if you paying attention to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, it is the Zionists of this country who actually do the eavesdropping and surveillance, and they pass it on to the FBI, the NSA, and other intelligence gathering organizations. But they do the primary. And if you're paying attention, he said it is the black youth of America that is the number one problem for the Zionists or the Israeli government. And who is the voice to the black youth but the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and those who are truly with him? And I'm going to close on this note, my sister.
Yes, sir.
So much for the honor of being on your show with some of the most intelligent viewers and listeners that can be found anywhere. I'll close on this note. Many years ago, a brother who the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has said that were it not for him, there would never have been a 1,000,000-man march. And that is the great mayor of Washington, D.C., Marion Barry.
Yep.
Remember when they tried to humiliate the brother? When he was in the room with the sister and he was looking at the TV screen? You know what he said. I'm not going to say it.
Yes.
But the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told us that the brother told him that they spent $40 million investigating Marion Barry at the end of the 80s, going into the 90s. Everybody in DC knew he was chasing them young girls, and he liked that white powder. What did they spend money on? And if the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the ultimate aim of this world is to kill him, that's not just killing him, it's his message.
Right.
So everyone that carries that message, you are a threat to the national security of not only America, but to that lit fellow over there that is in real trouble right now. And that's the state of Israel. One of the problems that we, the righteous, have to get out of is we got to come up out of low self-esteem.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't
If
know who we
God
are.
promises that if you kill one of my least, I will kill 10 of your best. Think about it. God himself said it. If you kill one of my least, I'll kill 10 of your best. But if you kill one of my best, I'll wipe out cities for you. Who are we in the sight of God? We are more than what we think we are. And if we could just get that over to the audience, you're more than what you think you are. It don't mean walk around puffy.
Right.
But it means that I have value in the sight of God. I know a man that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said of, that if this brother passes out, there will be an earthquake. Do you think that person got some value? An earthquake? Last time I read about a man in an earthquake passing out was Jesus.
Right.
Oh, he did give up the ghost, right? And it was an earthquake, right? Hey, the faux Jesus is real. Black people, we represent that Jesus.
We do.
And there's no need for us to be broke nor afraid. Everything that is needed for your success is already present. Trust your God and listen for him in the sound of those among you. You'll hear him. My sheep know my voice.
Look for him everywhere. That's one of the things Brother Yusuf Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with him. When I left Indianapolis, Indiana, he said, sister, you go up there and promise me this. You will continue to look for Allah everywhere. And I never forgot that. I was walking on the trail today, looking at Allah in the blades of grass, in the flowers, in the trees, you know, all of that. So I want to go back to Marion Barry for a minute. I have a few Marion Barry stories, but I won't tell them. But something that I witnessed personally about him, because I went to DC, Brother Wali. I had the press's view of Marion Barry. I just looked at him and I said, he's a crackhead. I had no idea the good that he had done for the people of Washington, D.C. And I met people, my business partner said that for him, it's like all hail Marion Barry. He said he gave me my first job. He did, you know, everybody got a list of the things that Marion Barry did for them, including making several billionaires. There's people today, Black billionaires to this day, that Marion Barry, in his wisdom, his generosity, his knowledge, that he made happen. And I know when we were first looking to build a hospital, we had put some investors together. We were going to buy a hospital. At that time, used to be called United Medical Center in Washington, D.C. And when this man was so smart. He sat down with me and broke down why you don't want to do this. He showed me the debt that was on the books and how it was tied to the DC bonds. He said, don't mess with this, build your own. And broke it down and spent about 2 hours. This was the first meeting we had together where he showed me in government accounting the bonds and the debt, how they had hid the debt of the hospital and all of this. And then at the end, he said, sister, what did you say your name was? He didn't even remember my name. And I said, Wendy Muhammad. He said, oh, he said, how the minister doing?
Yeah, I can hear him.
I said, he's fine. He said, all right then. And then when I went back and I was telling my business partner, he said, oh yeah, that's the man. So I brought him back. And I said, and he was so knowledgeable. I said, this is Dr. Jeffrey Dormu. This is, you know, I said, I told him his whole history and his family. Come to find out, he knew his mother. Said she used to cook for them with the SCLC, and he was breaking it down. But you're talking about a brilliant man. And so we can't let the enemy cause us to throw our people away, because a lot of them are doing the best they can with the level of morality that they've been given access to. And when they do that kind of good, like that man has did, that entire U Street corridor in Washington, D.C., Marion Barry created that. And he said to me, he said, one of the things that I regretted is that I did not put any Black quotas on them. So you don't have one Black business in the U Street corridor in Washington, D.C., but it's one of the most popular corridors in that entire region. But it was almost, I forget how he broke it down, almost like how Winnie Mandela was always upset with Nelson Mandela because she felt like they gave up too much. And he said, I gave them the design, but I gave up too much. So beautiful lesson in that. Something that I learned about city development from him in just maybe three meetings. And he became our patient, Brother Wali. And when he got sick and started suffering from blood clots, my business partner was his doctor. And he told him, he said, I'm going to need you to stop going over there to the Black hospital. He said, I'm going to die with my people. And he chose. We could not stop him from going over there. They didn't know what to do with his blood clots and stuff. And, he threw one to the brain and then that was it. But he said, if that's the will of God, I'll die with my people. So you talking about down. He was down. He had a little blip with the powder and all of that, but that man was down for the people.
Yes, ma'am. And he got reelected after that.
He's he's DC's mayor for life. And so I'm grateful to have had that time spent with him because he taught me a lot, but he could never remember my name. He said, "What you say your name was again?" Sister, what you say your name was again? Could never remember. He said, I think I saw you one day. He told me, he said, that hospital, they dogging you, sister. I said, why you say that? He said, they using you. He said, this hospital's supposed to been closed. He said, are they paying you for coming over here? Because what I would do when we had clinic in the hospital, I would go and sit with the CEO and help him with the hospital. I had no idea I was saving the hospital till Marion Barry told me. He said, I seen you walking out of there one day. I said, oh, that's the sister. He said, what's her name in again? He wasn't vested in who I was. It was no craziness. But he told me, he said, stop going over there helping him. He said, don't help him no more. And I stopped going. Next thing you know, that man's in Dubai somewhere. He left out. They ran him up out of there. But he said you are helping them turn this hospital around for free. God. You think you just going up there having a conversation. So we got to value ourselves more. Yeah. So with that, Brother Wali, I thank you. I hope people learn something. There's people saying, wow, thank you. Amen. Talking about procurement opportunities and all of that. And we're going to come back again. We're going to talk about procurement, how to get some of these government contracts and all of that other stuff, some of those other things as well. So thank you, Brother Wali. Any closing words before we go?
I would say study the words of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the prayer that he suggested that we say 7 times a day. Mm-hmm. Oh Allah, I seek, meaning I'm actively in the hunt, in the pursuit of thy refuge from anxiety and grief. What's anxiety? Anticipation of loss, fear, or danger. I'm full of anxiety. Oh, really? Well, what's going with your anxiety? I seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. What is grief? Prolonged sorrow. Many of us are depressed and don't even know. We don't even have a real positive outlook on life. And a lot of it comes from the people that we lend our ear to. They're literally giving you their state of mind, and whatever the teaching they're giving you, their depressed state of mind, they're infusing it in you.
Amen.
See? And I seek thy refuge from what? Being overpowered by debt
and the oppression of men.
And the oppression of men. I seek thy refuge from cowardice and
niggardliness.
Well, we know what cowardice is. That's a scary person. But what's niggardliness? See, God says what? Those who are saved from the greediness of their own souls. In the street, we call them stingy. See, when you're a coward, you're also very stingy. You're non-charitable.
That's right.
See?
That's right.
I seek thy refuge from cowardice and niggardliness. I seek thy refuge. We have to seek God's refuge. This is a time to seek refuge in God. And last point, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan put it to us like this.
Wait, Brother Wali, I got to take, because then he goes on to say, suffice thou me with that which is lawful.
And free me of what is prohibited.
Of what is prohibited. So a lot of people, when they run out of options, they go the illegal route. They go the scamming route, because we start getting desperate and we stressing out and we feel like there's nothing else we could do. Or we think we're being so smart by finding a shortcut and another way around. We seek refuge against that type of behavior.
It is a beautiful prayer. Thank you, my sister. I was going to say that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in a lecture that he called Distress, a time to seek refuge in Allah, August the 10th, 1986. He talked about the time being so confusing that you don't know what's up, what's down, what's right, what's wrong. He said, in this day, God is going to look like Satan, and Satan is going to look like God. What kind of time are we in? It is a time where confusion, which he said is one of the weapons that Allah God would use. We're so confused. So here is things that are good for you. And you looking and you listening, but there's another voice in your mind say, I don't believe that. You know what? Always trying to listen. Take what from you? Your ignorance? That's the only thing that can be taken, because you ain't got nothing else. Whatever you think you have, you really don't have nothing, because it's our unity that's going to put us over the top. We got to come together and stop all this crazy arguing. I'm looking for the hypocrite. That's a disbeliever. Who said so? The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that until a period is put to the end of your life, you don't know who is who.
No.
Then he said yesterday, he said today's hypocrite can be tomorrow's giant. Until they're gone, you don't know who's who. Stop it. Let's be about the resurrection of our people and the resurrection of the entire human family of our planet. That's the only assignment that we actually have.
That's really the only thing that really matters. I say all the time, Brother Wali, that we forget we in the resurrection business. So everywhere we go, there should be something about us that attracts people to us, that makes them want to know more about us. They should just be, look, you ain't got to even open your mouth. It could be just how you carry yourself, how you conduct yourself, how you do business, how you move, to make them go, man, what is it?
Our unity will make sure that no one of our community is hungry. Right now, we got people hungry among us. You got people who are opening these so-called food pantries, giving out food from our enemy that you don't even know what the expiration date is on it.
Right.
But you call it Muhammad's pantry. That's insanity. Stop that. We got farmers all over the nation. Who can organize them? And let's have this district raise this region raise that. We can solve hunger overnight with our unity and bringing together the like minds. We don't need authority to do that. The mission is the authority. Really, honestly. And I'll say this, my sister, and I'm going to hang up because I don't want you to get after me. You are blessed by Allah to be the foremost or one of the most foremost among us in business acumen and real world experience.
Alhamdulillah.
Why experience? Why is that so important? Experience has the same root as the word expert. My brother, Dr. Grayson, said anything that you have been doing for 5 years in a court of law, you are considered an expert. You are an
more than 5 years.
Yeah, you sure do. You sure do. Which means what? Anybody that's looking to learn to grow. Sister Sajdah is not somebody you got to be embarrassed about your condition with. She ain't somebody that's going to be spreading your business all over.
Never.
She is so disciplined. Her mind is like a steel door. Once it's in there, it ain't coming out. Nobody know nothing about you. Ain't nobody gonna looking at you sideways. Well, Sister Sajdah said.
Never.
Listen, we need help. We need help. We should be thriving. We should be owning. We should be owning and let the real estate acquisitions that we have, we can stop foreclosures in our community.
Right.
We can buy the house back and give it back to the poor righteous person. Say you just pay us instead. Foreclosure mean it's going to be going for pennies on the dollar. You ain't got to lose your house.
I did that, Brother Wali, with some taxes. I went to a tax sale downtown in DC, and I looked at the list, and I looked back, and there was about 7 or 8 elderly women sitting there, and they're about to put their house up for tax sales. And I think altogether, it might have been like $24,000. And I was buying some other stuff, and I just bought it and gave it to them. I didn't say nothing. I didn't tell nobody. They didn't even know it was me. I just said, if I could go down there every day, I only did it once. And once you sign up, then they sent me the bill. I said, I'm gonna see what the bill is. There was $24,000. I think it was about 8 homes, and they were all people in their 70s and 80s. And I said, if I could do that every day, Allah, I would do that. But I think he just wanted to show me how easy it was to do. And I just said, if they get a blessing that they know nothing about, they didn't know me. I think it may probably have eventually ended up having my name on it, but they didn't know me from Adam. These ladies probably stressed out, probably about to have a heart attack and lose their mind because they're about to lose their home. And I'm sitting there, and as they were sitting behind me, I'm at the window. I could feel the energy of their stress down from my ankles all the way up into my ears. I could feel the tension. And I just said, let me just do it. And, we ended up making money off of some stuff on some taxes, some empty buildings and stuff like that. But I just took my personal money and I just paid for it. So I pray that my goal, Brother Wali, is to I want to help people get better and get in front of some checks and to become liberated. I want to see us free, because I've been on the other side of the table. I have been on the other side of the table. I understand, for whatever reason, Allah put me in that position. Ever since I went to the agricultural business school, I've been on the other side of the table looking at what they do to us. And I didn't know that I had any way of doing anything about it until I became acquainted with these teachings. And then he kept showing me, put me in healthcare, and I was literally devastated at the things that I see our people being subject to and experiencing. We were blessed to save about 30,000 lives and limbs, but that's only 30,000. That's only 30,000. So I just pray to be able to multiply these efforts and do more and more and more and more. That's my goal. So thank you for your kind words. I really do appreciate it. And thank you for seeing me and recognize, because I don't say those kind of things, and I probably never would have said anything about that, but that's just my goal.
Well, you are invaluable among us. Our Father knows it, and I'm in agreement with him. And I wish that we would come around.
We will.
And stop looking for that which is not real. Reality is substance. If it's just talk without substance, it's called rhetoric.
Mm-hmm.
The nation is a big place. Every true believer has a gift from the Creator to advance this nation.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, you who are watching, do you believe that about yourself? Because if you don't, then you have a problem. Because our Father made a sermon called Unearthing Your Gifts and Talents.
I remember that.
See, there's something in you, but it's the trials of life that bring out of you the gift that Almighty God has put in you. All of us who are good are here to advance the nation. We got some no good ones too. But they work
help too.
Oh yeah, in a great house there are many vessels.
Yeah.
Some gold, some silver, some wood, some clay, some of honor, some of dishonor. But they all in the great house. That's what the Bible says. I believe in the Bible. Then believe in that.
That's right.
Thank you, my sister.
Thank you, sir.
So much.
I appreciate it. May Allah bless you. May you get access to a blessing as soon as you get off this phone that you didn't know nothing about.
Hold on. Phone ringing now. Excuse me. Listen.
You got
like Moses. Moses had a prayer. He said, "Oh Allah, surely I stand in need of whatever good thou hast stored up for me." I love that prayer.
I love that too.
Yeah, I need whatever good he got for me. I need it. I'm not self-sufficient. I got lots of needs. And I ain't scared to ask you.
That's right. May Allah bless you and your family, sir.
Thank you, my sister.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your positive feedback. I see you, Kashima Newman, Sister Sandra. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We are going to close out, and I hope that you all got something out of this and you'll get ready for next week. We got another powerful guest coming on. We're going to be talking about financial literacy. Today, I wanted to pop the credit piece out of there so that we could really tie our spirituality and the movement of our spirituality in with credit. And we did it with our mindset and removing. Last week, if you were here, we said a prayer. We did a whole process of removing negativity and all the negative things that we've been going through from our epigenetics, from our DNA. And next week, we're going to talk about financial literacy. So promising to be just as powerful. And so I can't wait to see you all. So tell a friend, tell them to come on. It's only $25 to come on to this platform to learn. I guarantee you it's more than $25 worth of information that was shared here this evening, and that will be even shared next week. Okay. If you want to continue to support the movement and all the things that we're doing here at Sajdah Enterprises, just go to Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises. You can give, what you feel you need to give or that you can give. The donation amount is up to you, but we just ask that if you received anything today, then you can always give. I know you guys paid $25 to get on here, but like I said, we gave out more than $25 worth of information. So may Allah bless each and every one of you. Thank you, and thank you. And inshallah, we will see you all next week. And some of you all will see you at the waltz at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House. Anyway, peace and blessings, family. Love y'all. The Elijah Muhammad House presents Black Waltz in White, an electrifying and elegant movement introduced to the Nation of Islam in the 1930s by Master W. Fard Muhammad. Join us for the second event in our Arts, Culture, and Civilization series. Learn more about the level of culture and refinement taught and demonstrated by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We'll be there Thursday, June 26th at 6 p.m. in Elijah's Garden of Peace at 4847 South Woodlawn Avenue. All ages are welcome to attend this special event of dance, education, and our sacred space. Visit ElijahMuhammadHouse.com to secure your seats.